Welcome back everyone to our review of the Campos tire deflators. This is big thanks out to Bill for helping us out with this because he provided the devices for us to test out. So you get a pack, comes in a pack of 4. Simple to use as far as you unscrew the top nut, then you unscrew the bottom to the set PSI rate you want. Comes down from I think 35 from memory all the way down to 10 psi. The idea is you set the bottom one, that's just showing you what the PSI was when we started. We set our original one at around about I think 20, just under 25 psi, and then we do a test to see in this aspect who goes in comparison which one was faster. Now granted, the Campos you'll be doing all 4 at once, so it's half the time frame, so it finishes just before the Maxtrax does, but you know, you double that, so you'd end up getting it done twice as fast really in comparison to the other one. So it's quicker, but in this example we found that the PSI ratings in comparison to what was set and what the results were significantly different on this test that we did. Was out by usually 5 to 7 psi, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending. We tried it twice on different occasions to test it out. I do another, because I was so perplexed by it because of the price. I was expecting we'd hopefully get a good quality product that would provide reasonable accuracy. I mean, if it's out by a couple of psi, then that's what I would consider reasonable, given the price that you're getting, and especially for the ease in relation to setting it and changing it and deflating your tires quickly. So in this one, I've pretty much finished here. So I just finished slightly ahead of Bill. So you can guarantee they're twice as fast. Now here we show you the difference between the two. So it went rather quick. I don't know why the photos went really fast, but basically it showed that we'd set it to, I think it was 20, and it came up close to 28. So it was out by 8. Then we double checked with the Maxtrax dial to see whether or not that was saying the same as our gauge was, and it was pretty much exactly the same. It's just another angle of exactly the same thing. So that's just to show you what we've set it at. It's hard to see sometimes on the video, but especially if you're looking at what I'm looking at, which is a smaller screen as I narrate it. But there is some pictures I have at the end where I do my second testing on my Triton at home again to see whether or not there's something we missed. Now this time I've changed it again to 15 psi to see whether or not it produced similar type of inaccuracy, and it did on this occasion. It did. So I'd set it down to, I'm pretty sure 15, and it came back, I think from memory, hold on, waiting for it to come up. Yeah, about 18, 19 psi. So yeah, it's still out. So this is now the second test at home on the Triton. I try and do another lot to see whether or not I get a similar results. Now I've showing you that this is what I started at for my PSI on my tire there. Now what I've set the Campos to, I think was, it's very hard to see in the footage. I'll try and zoom in as much as I can. I think that's 20. They are simple, like simply, as you can see, you screw it on and you just pull that tab out and it slowly deflates. This one here, that was it 15? Came back as 20, so it was a bit off, round about by 5. I do 30 on the rear just to see whether a higher rating would give me the same, and it wasn't too bad. It was actually only off by a couple, so it wasn't too bad on that occasion. So even though this is the third test on the Triton, it's actually a third test in total, but second test on the Triton. So I start with on my right side in the back. I do 20 psi. This is just near showing. I do this pretty much on all the wheels just to show you that they're all actually pumped up before I mess around with it. So I set 20 psi on the rear. The front, I decided to drop it right down to 10 to see whether it had the top ring had anything to do with where the psi ended up, but it actually came back to be the fact that the bottom one is the actual measurement, like that's what you set it to. So whatever the bottom is set closest to, like as you can see there, the bottom one, and the ring I'm holding in my finger is actually off slightly. You screw that down so it holds it all in place, and then you pull the plug out to let the air out. So that top thing didn't do anything. So this is just a demo to show you I'm doing it all. Again, trying to get a thorough testing across the board to see whether or not it either consistently is way out, or we're getting better results on numerous amount of consecutive type of tests to see where the results come from. So this is the front that I set at 10, comes back at 12 psi. So just showing you there, that's the picture showing you I'm sitting on around about 10 psi there. This is on the other side, so I go to the left side of the vehicle, start at the rear, and I set the rear, I'm pretty sure it's 25 psi. I've got some pictures at the end so you can clearly see the psi rating on both the Camp Boss and the pressure reading, so you can really see the details, so you can pause and double check. But it simply as I've just sped a lot of this up for time purposes, just to because we have tested it a few times, but I just really wanted to make sure that we are getting accurate information and I'm putting out there correct stuff. So showing you what we're setting the front to, I think it was 25. So those all deflate, and basically the end results are as the videos will show, because it's hard to sometimes see in this picture what they are. So the back one, 25 psi, ends up sitting around about 28, 29, almost 30. Front one, I set at 20 psi, or almost 19, depending on how close those little arrows are, ends up sitting at 22 psi. So on this second test of the Triton, on third test in total, I would say that it was only off by a few psi on each occasion, maximum of 3 psi out. So here come the photos where you can see each compared against each other. So that's the one at 10, showing you 10. You'll see the rest of them. I just want to make a couple of comments just to say, for the price of it, 100, if it's only off by a few psi and it's consistent like that, then I would say then the value for money would be there, as long as that is consistent. If it's out by 5 to 7 or 5 to 9 like the first time we tested it, I would hesitate. But off the last example, I would say that it's probably one of the ones that of interest. So off on the last test, so which is quite strange, but